Louis had seen a play of mine, Landscape of the Body, in 1977 at the Public Theater. And 2 years later, when he had money to do a movie, but he called me here and asked if he could come see me, and he explained that he said, the one who wrote that play, and I said yes. So he came and he said, I have money to make a film. It's going to be a thriller. There was a rabbi in Winnipeg who put up the money for a movie, because in that year of 1979, every dollar that was invested in a movie production was 100% deductible. So this rabbi in Winnipeg assembled X amount of dollars to make a movie, a thriller starring Susan Sarandon and a bankable male star. And Louis could not get a script. Just couldn't get a script. So he asked me if I had any ideas. And I had, because our neighbors when I was a kid in Jackson Heights was a man named Tony Ray, who had been the assistant manager of the Waldorf and moved down from Jackson Heights to Atlantic City to take over the Chalfont Haddon Hall. And when that was decaying, he said, we have to bring gambling to Atlantic City. So he was behind that. And so my mother had kept up with his wife, and it always sounded interesting. I mean, there was lots of stuff in the paper about it. So Louis said, did I have an idea for a movie? I said, yeah, Atlantic City. That's the place. Because I knew Louis was a documentary filmmaker. And I loved his movies for their sense of place. His India movies were so extraordinary. And one thing I forgot to say, he said, in order to qualify for the tax dollars, the picture has to be finished by December 31st, 1979, and it was now July 27th. So we went down on the 29th of July to Atlantic City, and Tony Ray, without him, it took us all around. We spent about 8 hours there and showed us all. We came in to Resorts International, which has been open a short while, and there was these beautiful girls shucking clams at the entranceway. I said, what are they doing there? He said, oh, they want to be blackjack dealers. And you have to prove your trustworthiness. You have to work in a job like shucking clams for 3 months before you can qualify to be a card player, to be a blackjack dealer. Louis and I, we said, that's Susan. The realities just started. And then Adele's mother had given us a book on Heloise's Household Hints as a joke. But I remember I looked in to see, what do you do for fish smell? Because there was just with fish on it, and they said to cut a lemon in half and wipe it over your arms. So I said, well, so this reality just kept dictating what happened. And then we saw a photograph in a book of that day we were down there. We saw a photograph of there as a gangsters convention in 1929. Al Capone had sitting there in the front. But in the back row, there's a boy, 19-year-old kid, We said, that's our hero. 50 years later, who's that kid now? So anyway, it was great. And then Louis left, and I showed up about 10 days later in France. Adele and I went to France, and I had a first draft of the movie. And we started shooting in October and finished on New Year's Eve, 1979.